This is the best secret to starving parasites out of your body that nobody is talking about. Hey Wellness Warrior, I'm Dr. Nick Zarowski, and the topic of parasites is really popular right now. A lot of people are saying, well, everybody's got parasites. You need to do a parasite cleanse. And you know what? I've even had a parasite issue myself in the past, so therefore I understand, yeah, it can cause a lot of nasty symptoms, and you want to make sure that you're working to overcome this issue. And because long term, it can cause some serious problems in your body. So getting rid of parasites is mission critical if you're suffering from them. So we'll talk about not only how you get rid of parasites, which is really the most important part of this video, but also some of the symptoms that pop up and how to identify for sure whether or not you're suffering from a parasitic issue. Let's talk about some of the different herbal remedies that you can use to get rid of parasites. And we're going to focus on some of the heavy hitters, okay? We're going to use things like oregano oil, wormwood oil, garlic oil, ginger oil, and also peppermint. These are really, really good for helping getting rid of parasites. And what I like to do with these is I actually like to take them in the morning on an empty stomach and then fast all morning and don't eat my first meal till afternoon. That way these things can really work in your body. Now what's also important to realize is that whenever getting rid of parasites, you're going to want to take a very broad spectrum of different herbal remedies that support this process. So I mentioned a couple of the heavy hitters, but I will tell you that whenever it comes to like the clinical model of how we're going to work with these things, we're going to use a broad spectrum of different herbal remedies. And what I'll do is I'll put a link in the description to the one that we use. It's called Clear 1, Clear 2. It's like a two-phase system. And this is what works best, okay? So what we'll do is we'll take that on an empty stomach and let it work in the system. Now, the thing is that not only do you want to use this in order to get rid of parasites, but you first want to be able to identify if you have this issue. Now, the way that most people identify if they have parasites is through symptoms alone. Let me go through a few of the symptoms that you may actually come up and start facing. One is going to be diarrhea, abdominal pain, so you're going to have an upset stomach all the time, nausea and vomiting, rashes that just show up all over your skin, you don't know why, itching all over the body, sores, malnutrition because the parasites are stealing the nutrition from you, joint pain and discomfort, fatigue, anemia. You'll start to have blood issues just simply because you have a parasite in your stomach leaching off of you. And then also you can have sleep disturbances and night sweats and so much more. Breathing issues. My point in telling you all of that is it can be very difficult to identify having parasites simply off of symptoms. And so what I always like to do is test to determine if there's a parasitic issue so you know 100%, because all of these different symptoms that I mentioned, and there's a laundry list of symptoms that are associated with a parasitic infection. They also can really mean a lot of other things as well. So identifying if you have a parasite through testing is always most ideal. Now let's talk about a little bit further some of the things that you're going to want to do to get rid of parasites, because many people will go and use this right here, this alone, and use the formula like I mentioned earlier. However, that's not typically enough. You need to do more. And this is why many people fail at getting rid of parasites, and they think they got rid of it because they maybe did a little bit of work on it for 30 days and some of the symptoms died down, only to find out all the symptoms come back as soon as they quit taking some of the different oils here. So what we want to do is get rid of parasites for good. Now the first thing we want to focus on is our immune system, okay? It is very important to make sure our immune system is very strong, because a healthy immune system fights these things off. A weak immune system is not going to fight off parasites. So anything we can do to make sure our vitamin D levels are good and take, immune boosting vitamins like zinc, vitamin C, and vitamin D, and N-acetylcysteine, and quercetin, all these things are really good for boosting up our immune system. I really like to do that during this time. And then of course, working on things like, am I getting plenty of sleep at night? Am I exercising? Am I taking care of myself? Leading into what should we eat? Okay, this is mission critical right here. It's very important to make sure that you're not consuming food that feeds the parasites very good. Now, to give you an example of this, a type of diet that would feed a parasitic infection very well would be like your standard American diet. Lots of sugar, lots of carbs. Okay, so the first thing we want to do when it comes to dietary changes is we want to actually get rid of the sugar and get rid of the low quality carbohydrates in your diet, because what happens is these parasites thrive greatly off of simple carbohydrates. So if you're drinking sodas and you're drinking, coffees with enormous amounts of sugar in them, eating a lot of high sugar foods, this is all going to feed that parasitic infection very well. However, let's say on the contrary, you're following something like a ketogenic diet that is like 100% sugar-free. That is not a diet that a parasitic infection likes, okay? And it's gonna actually participate in the process of killing them off. Let's talk about where to go next with the probiotics and the fiber, okay? This is really important because just like we talked about the immune system playing a huge role in getting rid of the parasites, well, the probiotics will too, because when you put good bugs and you promote the microbiome and make your microbiome more robust, guess what they don't like in there? They don't like parasites. So they're gonna help you get rid of the parasite infection that you're dealing with. So good probiotics and then good fiber. And what I like to do is I like to actually make sure that I'm getting plenty of fiber to act as a prebiotic, right? Now, in the sense of when you're looking at a lot of protocols, it's like, well, fiber is really good because it's gonna help you go to the bathroom, keep things moving, right? However, fiber is really good in order to actually feed the good, healthy probiotics. And so I'll put a lot of resources in the description. This is a really big topic, guys. So it's important to understand that, you know, like particular probiotics work better than others and particular fibers. What we like to do is put the proper fiber in to support the probiotic. And so lots of resources down below. But at the end of the day, when it comes to dealing with parasites, you want to take a very dynamic approach to getting rid of them. You want to eliminate them. You want to make sure that you're building a robust microbiome. You want to strengthen your immune system. You don't want to feed them. And you put all this stuff together and you do it for 30, 60, 90 days. And just like that, you're going to get some results. And guess what? If you have any questions on this, you can always reach out to my clinic. Resources in the description below. And what we can do is help you get on the right path to solving this issue if you're suffering from it. I'm Dr. Zarowski. Give this video a thumbs up. Share it with somebody who needs it. It was a pleasure seeing you, and I'll see you in this video next.